Ah yes, the fated 8-bit pixel platformer, How We Meet Again. Zombeez Killer Queen Remix is a game from Bumblebear Games. They've done 2 games in their whole lifespan, the first one being Killer Queen Black, and the other is what we're talking about today, Zombeez. On paper, it's a simple platformer where you play what looks like to be a necrotic version of Winnie the Pooh and have to traverse a hellish-like platform to get to the fated Red Queen. I'll be honest, I walked into this game thinking it'd be a giant bag of fallacies and was pleasantly surprised by the short period of enjoyment. Usually with these titles, I hand it to a child and say, hey, tell me if this is any good and come back within the hour. But after fumbling around with the jump button for 5 minutes, it soon turned into a addictive little platformer. The levels are all randomly generated and all themed around what looks like to be some sort of hellish B-universe. There's no story per se, and the mechanics are fairly simple. Similar to Amstrad-esque titles, the further you hold A, the further you'll jump. And those sneaky developers, of course, they've put ledges in that just about sneak the top of your jump arc, which means you have to be more precise than a sous chef slicing out the venom sac of a pufferfish. But that's not a bad thing, it provides a nice challenge, and just to make things extra quirky and a little bit more difficult, you have an impeding hellish army coming behind you known as the Darkness. Think you can dawdle around or think about a strategy in front of you? Nuh-uh. If you hang around for too long, it comes along and eats you up. And to make things even more sweeter, you've got 2 lives, and there are no checkpoints. There are various power-ups. As you run around, you collect these round purple grape things which can be used to give you various bonuses. First one would appear to turn you into some sort of buff angel bear, while the other one gives you a swift injection of amphetamines and sends you running across the map at 500 miles per hour. In terms of look, the game is nothing to write home about, but it has its own quirks and charms. It's certainly unique in its own aesthetics. They've bought the 8-bit engine and they've truly owned it. And after half an hour of playing, I was beginning to root for my Bumblebee Winnie the Pooh hybrid creature, praying that I could finally come to grips with the controls and beat the flying gherkin with wings at the end of the level. And again, the bosses are fairly simple by design, but the mechanics are precise, lethal, and if you make a mistake, it's back to hell you go. They do a clever job of setting up tempting little stops along the way that lure you in to go, ooh, that'll be cool and that might help me, just before you're reminded by the impeding darkness charging behind you. The music was simple and suited for an 8-bit title, those quirky MIDI tunes as you played and jumped and dived into lava. Overall, I certainly didn't regret playing this title. For the price point of £6, it was really enjoyable and definitely lined up with what I got. There's more replayability than you think, with daily and weekly maps to run through, with lots of random procedural generation to keep you entertained. I'm not the most hardcore of platformers and certainly not in the speedrunning scene, but I definitely see where this would be interested for those suited to it. Again, I picked this first from my review stack because I thought it would be the most painful to play and was actually surprised by how much I enjoyed it. Overall, I think if you're into platformers and looking for something to play, I think you'll really enjoy this. It is so cheap, I don't see how you couldn't really pick it up, but if you're more in the casual vein and you're looking for something to dive into, then this probably isn't for you. I played just over 2 hours of this and it didn't go into the refund bin, so I'm pleased with it overall. Even enticed me into checking out their other title, Killer Queen Black. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below. Certainly a bit of a quirky title. I'll be back with more news and reviews soon. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you all later.